Hey Patriots fans, we're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved New England Patriots. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. This way you'll stay updated and never miss any breaking news or exclusive content. Greetings fellow fans. In today's video, I bring you many updates, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Supporters of the team, could this be a smart move for the franchise? Let's dive into our fourth and final draft simulation and explore it in more detail. The crucial point at the fourth pick isn't just about the player's emotional state or the fact that his eyes seem extremely tired. It's true that allergies are a real issue, but the main question here is, at the fourth pick, what should the team avoid at all costs? In my view, the player in question is actually quite a safe pick. Although many may argue that his range isn't as wide, he has stood out in his conference, which leads me to believe he will succeed at higher levels. Now, it's important to reflect on who should be left aside. A name we've mentioned for some time is essential in this context. It's important to emphasize that many of the athletes we'll analyze might not be immediate priorities. The primary goal is to secure a player for the left tackle position, and perhaps add another wide receiver. Then, we can consider the defensive tackle position and pass rusher as areas of need, as well as the guard position, and some may also point to the center position. No doubt, it seems like our list is quite extensive. When examining Mason Graham and Milton Williams in comparison to Christian Barmore, it seems that Barmore should return. So do the Patriots really need Mason Graham? The deciding factor would be if the team opts for another player at the fourth spot and believes they can secure another offensive tackle at the 38th pick, or if they can make a trade. In my view, this would be the only scenario that justifies the pick unless another team decides to trade with him, which, as mentioned earlier, seems unlikely. Therefore, I don't see Mason Graham as a plausible pick. He seems destined for somewhere else. Selecting an offensive tackle at the 38th pick or making a possible trade seems like the only viable option. In my opinion, this possibility is remote unless someone decides to trade with him, which, as discussed, has slim chances. As for Mason Graham, I don't imagine he'll be picked by them. However, I believe he'll probably go within the first 5 picks, possibly to the Jaguars. Now, there's a player who might upset many fans, especially those following this discussion and recognizing his talent. I also admire this athlete. I enjoyed watching him at Boise State, and it saddens me that the team didn't advance in the playoffs against Penn State. I had hoped they would overcome that challenge, but facing such a strong defense in a tough environment isn't easy. When we look at Ashton Jensen, he does have the potential to shine more than Stevenson, and I can't argue with that. However, the main concern is that just like Graham, the Patriots have more urgent needs to address, especially at left tackle, wide receiver, and other areas. Many would argue that the draft value for a running back at the 4th pick is too high, but I understand the viewpoint of those who see him as a generational talent. He is an excellent running back with that potential, and I acknowledge that perspective. It has been suggested that there will be a lot of excitement on draft day, and it's possible they could pick Genty and then trade to secure a left tackle later in the first round, which would really be a surprise. Historically, several teams have surprised fans with their picks, especially when acquiring offensive talent. Looking ahead, I foresee them making a safer choice in selecting Will Campbell. As for Will Johnson, it seems this possibility won't come to fruition. In the cornerback discussion, many would say he's the best in this draft class, though some might point to another player. In my opinion, Will Johnson stands out, especially based on his performance at the University of Michigan. Once again, I'm convinced they'll make a prudent choice and opt for Will Campbell. Will Johnson will definitely not be an option, that's for sure. When it comes to cornerbacks, I would argue that he's the best in the current draft class. While many might point to Travis Hunter, I really believe Will Johnson stands out. I had the chance to observe his performance at the University of Michigan, and he's an exceptional talent, which is hard to admit as a Michigan State fan. They have Carlton Davis, and we can only hope he plays a full season at least once in his career. Then we have Christian Gonzalez, who is a second-team All-Pro. Moving on from Johnson, we find Tyler Warren, who adds another name to the offensive. Arsenal, this player is considered a standout receiver and is seen as a strong prospect. It is known that New England has a rich history with notable tight ends, especially during their Super Bowl campaigns. However, I think selecting Tyler Warren at the 4th pick would be an overreach. It's too much value for that pick. They already have Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, and Jaheim Bell. The real question is what they can achieve in their second year. Someone commented in a previous video that Polk and Baker absolutely cannot perform worse than last year. This observation contains some truth, and I honestly hope it holds up. I believe Jaheim Bell fits into the same category as a versatile tight end capable of performing various roles, but the real question is whether he will be productive. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, whether you agree or not. I noticed names like Mason Graham and Gent John. Although I haven't seen Johnson, I had the chance to analyze Warren, so feel free to comment below if you disagree and justify your opinions. Once again, I'm convinced that Will Campbell will be the pick at the 4th position. If it's not him, I'm simply presenting my reasoning as to why I believe he will be selected. Let's wait for the developments. This is also something I appreciate, so let's dive into a simulated draft and start the process. There was an additional point I wanted to address, but I completely forgot about it. I don't want to search for it during the video because it would take time. But if you check Twitter, you'll notice a trend involving action figures generated by artificial intelligence. And it's very interesting. Let's dive into a simulated draft and really get started. There was something else I wanted to mention, but I completely missed it. And I don't intend to research it during the video because it would take too long. When you check Twitter, you'll find a current thread related to action figures made by AI, and it's absolutely hilarious. One of the action figures is of Drake May, and normally they come with some interesting accessories. However, on the box, it states that items like left tackle and wide receiver are not included. I thought this was really funny. Now, let's move on to the draft. And right from the start, we have a trade. We've received 3 offers, but honestly, I will decline them all, trying to keep it as realistic as possible. Overall, we have the expected players available: Mason Graham, Will Campbell, Ashton Jeanty, and Shedeur Sanders. I think the Las Vegas team is making a trade, though I forgot the details. Let's pick Will Campbell and then move on to the 38th pick, where we'll evaluate our options. There's a possibility we could trade down to the 42nd pick, but wait, Pierce is available from Tennessee. I wonder who the Jets are interested in, but Kenneth Grant is also available. Let's take a risk and accept this trade, even though it drops us from the 42nd to the 48th. But I'll decline this offer. At this point, I'm really interested in Kenneth Grant as a defensive tackle, so let's also check out the offensive options. We don't need Jackson Dart, as everyone knows, and Jalen Noel, or rather Jalen Royal, is also on the list. Kyle Williams is another name mentioned, but our plan is to focus on defense and pick Kenneth Grant because he's a real monster. Quickly moving on to the next pick, we'll decline this option and then check the edge position. Ashton Gillette was suggested by several commentators as a potential target. Let's keep an eye on him. We don't need a defensive tackle. And as for Chris Paul Jr., I'm just joking about the NBA player. Now let's check the cornerback and safety positions before we return to the offense. Trayvon Henderson is a very tempting option as a wide receiver. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has shocked the entire NFL community, Tyreek Hill, one of the most explosive wide receivers in recent history, has left the Miami Dolphins and is now officially the newest member of the New England Patriots. The news broke earlier today and has already set social media ablaze as fans struggle to come to terms with one of the biggest intra-division moves in recent memory. Hill, known for his blazing speed and game-breaking ability, has long been a nightmare for AFC East defenses, and now he'll be wearing the very colors he once tormented. The Patriots, under head coach Jerod Mayo, and with a revamped front office, have made a bold statement with this acquisition. Tyreek Hill isn't just a weapon, he's a game-changer who instantly elevates the offense. After a few seasons of offensive inconsistency, New England seems determined to bring back the dynamic style of play that once defined their dynasty. Hill's presence will open up the field for younger players and offer the Patriots quarterback, whether it remains Mac Jones or a new face, a reliable and explosive target. For Miami, the loss is immense. Hill was the heart of their passing game and a major reason for Tua Tagovailoa's growth over the past 2 seasons. His departure will leave a noticeable gap, and Dolphins fans are left questioning the team's direction. Rumors suggest the decision may have stemmed from contract disputes or a desire for a new challenge, but the result is clear. Hill is now a Patriot, and the AFC East just became even more unpredictable. This move not only changes the landscape of the division, but also adds more fire to an already fierce rivalry. When the Patriots and Dolphins meet next season, all eyes will be on Hill, and you can bet he'll be ready to prove a point. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.